Alright, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tavares, and I know I'm late to the party, but I did want to do a reaction video on the top 10, at least before, the year gets too far in. Sorry for being sick, but we're going to get into it. I just want to give my opinions and pretty much see what the top 10 is. I do know vaguely what it is, a few spots, but seeing Tweak here is pretty wild. Honestly, with how much Tweak has had to fight so many incredible players and so many hard matchups, it's still amazing to see him in the top 10. He did win Luminosity Make Lose Miami. With Diddy Kong, it's still very impressive. He still beat a lot of great players. I think this is one of his lowest recently. I think he was like top 5 for such a long time. I think he was 5 last time, so 10 is a bit low for him, but I think he might be picking up a secondary for the next coming year. It just feels like he has to fight so many tough matchups for Diddy Kong. Not really like losing, but in the sense of like you have to work harder than the other person does. Like I think Sonic is definitely a good matchup for Diddy Kong, and he has beaten Sonics a good amount of times. This comeback was incredible, by the way. I could not believe he beat Sonics in this winners finals. But yeah, we are probably going to see Tweak use his other characters more comfortably. His Diddy Kong is, of course, is the best in the world, and he has shown it multiple times. But when you want to become the best player in the world, you're going to have to account for all the Steve players. Honestly, I feel like Steve's the tough one for Diddy Kong. That's so common. Hopefully he finds a character for Steve. Moving on to number 9. And this is Oimo. Oimo is incredible. I really don't know. I feel like whenever I watch Oimo play, obviously Ryu being in top 10 is amazing, and it's super cool to see. He's really overcame a lot of matchups that people thought that the Shotos just couldn't do. I think Ryu being the best Shoto is pretty much solidified now. But again, I think it might be just the talent, because Oimo is so smart and Ryu does so much damage. So it might just come down to that. Otherwise, I think we're probably going to see like only really Oimo, Takura. I think there's secondary Ryus all over the place with Vendettas and Jazos. Ryu's gonna be around for sure. Him becoming the best in the world is kind of wild if he would like do it with Ryu. Just because it feels like Sonic, Game & Watch, and Steve are all bad matchups for Ryu, but Oimo does overcome them, so it's hard to really make a read on it. He's beaten Akola, he's beaten... I think he has a problem fighting Spargo. Yeah, he has lost 0-3 to Spargo. But he goes to so much. I think that's the thing too, I see him lose a lot, but not because he's bad, but because he just goes to so much. I think a lot of Japanese players just go to so much. Now this is a surprise to me. I am so happy to see Leo back in the top 10. He's so sick. Seemed to find his footing again. I'm so happy to see it. He's playing Joker, playing Violet, playing Meta Knight. The Rob's still there. He just has so much. Oh yeah, the best 2 stocks in Smash Ultimate history had to be in this top 10 thing. I loved these 2 stocks. He just read Spargo like a book. I'm pretty sure his spot here is specifically because he does so well against Spargo. I think he's the only person to have a positive record on Spargo. The Meta Knight for dealing with Min is really smart. Great choice from him. I think he is trying to be a problem solver instead of just the problem, so he's actually counter-picking a lot of people now, which is great. I think Leo has finally embraced the fact that he is a counter-picker. He's not just a Joker, but he has a myriad of characters that can pretty much deal with every character in the game. He still has to dominate over Japan, and probably going to Japan more will lead to this, but that 5th at Umabura still is crazy, and it's still great to see him put in so much work. So we'll see. I'm excited for Leo in 2025. I think he's finally found the group of characters he wants to play, and it's great to still see him in the top 10. Shoot on. Again, showing to me, like, Pyramithra is broken, for sure. But I think people sleep on Olimar. I think people forget how much damage Olimar really does. The character does so much damage. When he gets a Pikmin on you and just chains that together, it's nuts. Yeah, Shuton is just so consistently the top of the charts. Like, I don't think he's ever fallen out of the top 10 very low. I feel like I don't remember him falling out of the top 10 ever. But yeah, he's just so impressive that he's just, every season he's still up here, still being one of the best players in the world. And he's so smart too. I'm probably going to do a video specifically on Shuton because I love watching him play and I love seeing his style with Olimar. But yeah, Olimar's such in a weird spot because you feel like he's not that great and he has so many losing matchups. But then the top Olimar, there's so many top Olimars now. It's wild. But yeah, he's just so good. I love watching Shuton. And the big blow up from Raru, who 2024 has been incredible. He is now top 6. I'm so happy to see Luigi just show out. It's awesome. He beat so many people. He went to so many. I think he went to the most majors of any player in the top 10. He just dominates so well. He just makes these matchups look so stupid. I mean, they're really stupid. He will just come back and he will kill you, and he's so good at killing you, it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I thought Min Min was hard, he beats Min Min. I thought Rob was hard, he beats Rob's. I thought Steve was hard, he beats Steve. See, I thought Game & Watch was hard, he beats Game & Watches. I thought Snake was hard, he beats Snakes. It's wild. It's so insane. It's sad to see Snow lose 5 times, but that's my goat. But yeah, he just went to so much, grinded so much. He deserves to be top 6. Someone who definitely is lower than people think he is Sonic's for sure. Definitely a lack of attendance making him go here, but I love watching Sonic's. So we all know, he's probably top 3 if we're talking about straight up skill. 5 is definitely too low for him. I still think he is better than Light right now. I still think he's better than Cola right now. But I do think that Spargo and Mia are going to be his roadblocks. Not that he loses to them that much, it's more that they do so well and dominate so much that he has to go to way more to catch up to that ranking. I think Sonic still is, I think he is the most realistic best player in the world contender when it comes to people who haven't been yet. I think he has just so many good head-to-heads, plays a really broken character, knows how to beat so many people, is just good enough to do it. Even the small amount of tournaments he went to like, what, 5 tournaments? Look, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 5th, 13th. He had to win one of them. Honestly, Spargo's gonna be his roadblock, but I think he can overcome it. I really do.
You might get punished. Sonic's holding himself away. He's kind of using that downer.
I also saw that Light is trying to become the best player in the world now. He's really good at making like the reversals back to people he's lost to, and then he beats them the next time. So I'm excited to see how Light does. Fox is of course a broken character, but he's not as broken as Game & Watch Sonic or Steve, so he will end up being an outskill kind of situation. He still will have brackets that are just very scary. Like, I wouldn't want to play Fox against Luigi, I wouldn't want to play Fox against Pac-Man, I wouldn't want to play Fox against Game & Watch, but he still ends up beating them. So it's just like, I don't know. Is Fox just so broken that he can overcome matchups? Probably. I think this Light's just good enough to make it crazy. I do think Spargo, again, is going to be the big roadblock for him. He does okay against him, but sometimes these sets go really bad. That being said, I'm excited to see how he does. Oh, his demon's actually Gluto, which is interesting. Gluto do end up beating him a lot. But yeah, I think when it comes to the fight for number 1, Light, of course, is going to have to get over his bad brackets, and he seems to have done that. So this is fighting. This is basically saying who is number 3, and it's Sokola. Which means that number 2 is Mia, and number 1 is Spargo. It's interesting because it feels like Akola, as dominant as he is, as much as he beats everyone, didn't go to as much as everyone else did to really show it, which I think is just why his rank is not really low, but why he couldn't really fight for number 1 like Mia or Spargo could have. Of course, he is the best Steve in the world. He is going to show how crazy the character is. He's been dominant for years at this point. It's honestly really impressive to watch how much he's grown as a player. Especially that set against Spargo, where he dismantled Spargo with his Pyramithra. Like, that was one of the most dominant examples of Pyramithra versus Cloud I've ever seen. So don't count him out. He's gonna fight back. I think the fight for number 1 is the most interesting it's ever been because of how many amazing players there are. I think that this will also lead into Mia, who is number 2 again, who was number 2 last time. But yeah, this was apparently closer than people thought. But yeah, it's Mia. Number 2 once again with Mr. Game & Watch. What was that hitbox? That's so silly. Yeah, so Mia did recently lose to Lucario and does get upsetted, not a good amount, but he gets upsetted and then people freak out about it. But man, you watch him play and he's the best player in the room, like every single time. It's truly impressive. That being said, if you're going to become number 1, I think the last thing that's going to make me become number 1, other than the head-to-head to Spargo, is like US dominance, because I feel like that's the last frontier he has. He's beaten everybody, he's better than everybody, but I don't think he has the US dominance that he needs to become number 1. Maybe it's just the brackets he runs into. Maybe it's just that he doesn't go to enough, but yeah, I think that's the last frontier, which is, it's tough because, you know, it's expensive to go over these places. But even just look at this, like, he dominates Japan, like first tier. Then he comes to US, gets 13th, 13th, and 9th, right? Like, these aren't bad results, but for the fight for number 1, you just need to have a better dominance in America. It's a tough thing to overcome because we know he's just good enough to become the best player in the world. But it's hard when the best player in the world right now is Spargo, who is dominant pretty much everywhere now. Spargo is the best. I know everyone saw that tweet from a while ago, years ago. I think this was basically pandemic, where Spargo says, I want to become the best player in the world. And he is. He finally did it. 50 wins, 16 losses to the top 50. Beating literally everybody. It's just impressive. I'm super happy for him. He's worked really hard for this. And I think what I saw he wanted to do was become so dominant against everyone in the game that he basically is MKLeo in 2019. Will he do it? We'll see. There's still a few people who have taken sets off him, and the head-to-heads are close. So I think Mia was even. I think he's down with Leo. It's rough. It's hard. It's like, because this game has just gotten so developed. So many people enjoy the game. It's going to be really, really close. He actually didn't even go to that many super majors, but he did win 2 of them. So we'll see how he does against Japan. We'll see how he goes against the top players again. I'm excited to watch him more, of course, but it's not going to be easy. It's really not going to be easy. I think Leo is going to be one of his hardest challenges. Mia's going to be hard. Light's going to be hard. Honestly, everyone in the top 10 is so impressively good that the fight for number 1 is going to be wild. But right now, with Spargo already winning Let's Make Big Moves, he has a pretty good head start. But thank you guys for watching. 2025 is going to be awesome. I'm excited to see it.